back to another episode of Communicate 101 Speaking Writing Tips, your favorite podcast channel to build effective communication skills and bridge the gap between confusion and clarity. I'm your host Sarika Singh and I'm so excited to talk to you today. Let's get talking.
In 2015, pop star Taylor Swift publicly boycotted Apple Music. What was the reason? Apple Music was offering a free 1-month trial to new users. And during this free trial period, Apple was not paying the artists for the song played during that time. Naturally, Taylor Swift was unhappy. And because she was unhappy, she had boycotted Apple Music. Apple Music was not happy. It was time for Apple Music to apologize. But to fix this, to make sure they apologized to Taylor Swift, Eddie Q, the Apple's senior vice president, took an unusual approach to apologize. He apologized via Twitter, now X. In his tweet, he said, Apple Music will pay artists for streaming even during customers' free trial period. Soon enough, Swift was happy and we saw her in an Apple commercial. Enough about Swift, enough about Apple Music. Hey everyone! How are you today? In the last episode, which was titled How to Apologize Effectively Part 1, we discussed what an ideal apology must comprise of. We talked about its must-haves to be effective and very importantly, we discussed the best timing. You remember? Because if you miss the most opportune moment to apologize, even the greatest apology can make it hell on earth for you. In today's episode, we'll see some big goof-ups by some big brands, celebrities who did it wrong. Basically, the idea is to show you what to stay away from, what not to do. Yes, you've heard it right. Today I'll show you how you can even unintentionally give a bad apology, and you don't want to do that, right? I want to make the whole effort good for you rather than making it backfire at you with a 10x power. It's important to know this one so that you don't give a bad apology. Today we'll also discuss boundaries. When you apologize to someone, you have to protect your own boundaries. And I'll show you how to set those boundaries, how to protect your boundaries, because many of us suffer because of lack of these boundaries. So if you stay with me right till the end today, of course, considering you haven't missed the last episode, which I want you to retouch before you hear this one, I promise that the next time you mess up, you goof up, you do a mistake, you know exactly what to do to apologize when you do it. I agree, admitting that you're wrong is still anything but a simple task, and figuring out how you're going to make it right isn't an arithmetic process like 1 + 1 is equal to 2. And you cannot master it overnight. But one thing is 200% correct, and that is that when you immediately admit your mistake, when you ask for feedback, when you are transparent and when you sincerely mean to apologize, dil se, a simple I'm sorry can go a long way. Let's roll. Today the idea is that we learn from other people's mistakes. So I'm going to tell you a lot of mistakes which other people did so that when you apologize, you don't do those mistakes. Now, when a brand messes up, it has 3 options. The first one, admit it and fix it like Apple Music did. The second one, ignore it. Close your eyes like a pigeon when it sees the cat and hope it goes away. And the third one, which many brands do, which is terrible option, is give a half-hearted apology and wait for the storm to pass. Dekhte hain kya hota hai. Sit over it. Now, do you remember that Black Lives Matter movement? At that time, there was an ad by Pepsi. And this Pepsi ad upset many people because it seemed to make light of the Black Lives Matter movement. And when the ad backfired, guess what Pepsi did? They chose the third option. They chose a half-hearted apology after their controversial ad with Kendall Jenner. And that half-hearted apology backfired. Their apology made things worse because it showed they didn't really understand why people were angry. In their apology, Pepsi said, "We were trying to promote unity, peace, and understanding. Clearly, we missed the mark and apologize." Hello, what kind of an apology is that? This "we tried, we missed, move on" kind of an approach is a way too risky approach, especially for a global brand like Pepsi, because they offended way too many people. Pepsi's stocks plummeted, but that's a different story because people were really upset with Pepsi. And Pepsi, I hope you're learning. I hope you've learned from your mistake. Because apologies need to address the real issue. And they need to know that you truly understand your audience's perspective. A better apology by Pepsi could have been, "We made a serious mistake, making light of a serious issue." Now, saying sorry can help fix a relationship just like good repair job can fix a broken gadget. It can mend trust, it can ease pain, it can bring things back to normal. But I wish Pepsi understood that. If someone apologizes insincerely or without realizing what they really messed up, what was the problem, why the apology, it's like you pretending to fix your gadget and actually making it worse. It can make you feel even more upset and damage the relationship even further. In the last episode, I showed the 3 key parts of an apology. I'm sorry, because this shows how bad you feel about what happened. I was wrong. This means you're owning up to your mistake. And will you forgive me? This asks for a fresh start and healing. Pepsi's apology clearly missed item 1, item 2, and item 3. When we apologize sincerely, we give it with love. We give it with humility, and that can make a huge difference. It can lead to forgiveness, and that's the process. That's what we want. We want to begin the healing process. But if there's a bad apology, if we apologize poorly, it can ruin everything. Let's learn how not to apologize like Pepsi. Remember we talked about timing for an apology? Timing is extremely important when you're apologizing. And when you do apologize, make sure you don't take forever like Mark Zuckerberg. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, or his public relations team I should say, penned a 900-word statement after the Cambridge Analytica data breach. But it took the company multiple tries for Zuckerberg to say those golden words, "I'm really sorry." If instead of those 900-word statements, he would have said, "I'm really sorry," I think people would be so relieved. And if media sources are to be believed, these golden words, "I am sorry" or "I'm really sorry," they appeared only after Facebook stocks dropped. Do you think people don't notice this? Do you think people don't notice when you're apologizing? What took you so long to apologize? Do you think that doesn't make a difference in the apology? Of course it does. Everybody understands. So to begin with, let me show you 3 apologies, 3 types of apologies you must never do. These apologies are basically non-apology apologies, also called as faux-apologies. Basically statements that may appear to be an apology, but they lack genuine remorse, they lack genuine accountability. The first one is called conditional apology. When you say, "I'm sorry you were offended," "I'm sorry you got upset," If you're going to make this kind of a non-apology, save your breath. Because you're better off not apologizing. You're adding insult to injury. Because your apology is actually blaming the victim. I'm sorry, you got upset. So the culprit is you. Where's the apology? You're only blaming the other person. So when you genuinely want to apologize, you don't give a conditional apology wherein you're saying the culprit is you. You don't say, I'm sorry, you felt bad. I'm sorry, you got offended. I'm sorry, you are hurt. Watch yourself when you're apologizing. How many times have you used this, I'm sorry, you? The second don't do this apology is called the excuse-making apology. It does nothing, absolutely nothing. There's no healing of the wounds. There's no relief of the pain. So the apology doesn't do anything. When you say something like, sorry, but it wasn't my fault. Ouch. You're saying sorry, but as fast as the words get out of your mouth, you're spreading the blame onto somebody else. Sorry, it wasn't my fault. Then whose fault was it? I'm sorry, but boss didn't approve the leave in time. I'm sorry, you didn't confirm me. I'm sorry, my mom said no. So you're putting the blame onto somebody else, your boss or your mom, or, when you say you didn't confirm me, you're putting it on you. Now that I'm thinking about it, any apology with the word but is basically dead on arrival. So watch yourself. Are you using but? I'm sorry, but it wasn't my fault. I'm sorry, but you didn't confirm me. I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Where is that but? It's making the apology dead on arrival. Apologies are not intended to protect your ego. They're meant to keep it in check. So stay away from dead apology word called but. The third one is in fact a very dangerous one. This incomplete apology does nothing apart from aggravating the victim. When you say, sorry, there, you said it. Sorry, full stop. Hello, sorry? Sorry for what? You're saying only the word sorry. Are you so egoistic you cannot go beyond saying the word sorry? If you don't acknowledge the behavior you're sorry for, how is anyone supposed to be confident the same thing's not going to happen again? This is not a time to be vague, my dear. Make it clear you know exactly what you have to be sorry about. So don't say the word sorry alone. Support it with a supportive argument, supportive statement, I should say. Let's learn from the example of KFC. We all know that KFC is all about chicken. Obviously, no one goes there for salad. So when KFC recently switched their suppliers for chicken, the chicken didn't show up at the stores on time. And there was complete chaos. Almost 900 KFC restaurants in the UK were temporarily closed. People went crazy on social media. Some even called the police about chicken shortage. Imagine. Now KFC is a smart company. They handled this pretty well. They had to own their mistake, obviously, because 900 restaurants were closed temporarily. People had lost their jobs temporarily. The customers were unhappy. So, apology to banti hai. Now, the smart company KFC, what they did was, they put a full-page ad in the Sun and Metro created by Mother London. They owned up to the mistake, promised to fix it, and look at the business acumen of the food giant. They did it all with a clever, redesigned logo. So it was actually a marketing strategy. Now that's how you make a great apology. It's a win-win for all. They first listened to the customer, realized it was their mistake, accepted it sincerely, and presented a solution. An authentic apology starts with listening. If you seek to apologize, if you want to say sorry to someone, you need to hear what happened. And that too from the other person's point of view, not your own point of view. You need to check how it affected them. Because when it comes to apologizing, taking ownership and fixing the problem goes a long way. Amit accidentally hurt his wife Smita's feelings by saying something insensitive. Smita was really hurt, very upset. And Amit didn't realize he was hurting her till he actually hurt her. So that day, without any delay, Amit apologized with full sincerity. He promised to make things right, he promised never to repeat it, and he helped Smita to feel better. And lo and behold, their marriage was back on track. Dove, the cosmetic brand, did something insensitive too. And they apologized pretty well, just like Amit did. Dove put out an ad on Facebook. Now this is very interesting. In their ad, they showed a black woman, and using Dove, that black woman turned into a white woman. OMG. This caused a big uproar because people felt the ad was racist. I mean, it isn't rocket science to see that. Dove realized they messed up big time, and they were very quick in responding with a tweet to apologize and address the situation. Their tweet said, "An image we recently posted on Facebook missed the mark in representing women of color thoughtfully. We deeply regret the offense it caused." And of course, that ad was taken off. So like they say, a stitch in time saves 9. You need to apologize timely. You need to listen to what the other person is experiencing, and you need to set things right. In my last episode, I read emails I received from Zishan and Ruchika. For everyone's convenience, I'm rereading them. Believe me, they're very short, won't take long. So Zishan from Madurai had written, and I quote, "Sarika, I'm in sales and marketing in a real estate firm. I apologized to my boss the other day. I thought he was the one who was at fault. Now, because I apologized, he expects me to apologize every time. How do I clear this mess without offending him?" Ruchika writes, and I quote, "Sarika, whenever I apologize to someone, especially someone who's at fault, they are convinced that I'm the culprit. They start lecturing me. I didn't even do the wrong thing. Was saying an apology the wrong option?" So this particular part is especially for you, Zishan and Ruchika, and everyone who experiences what they did. People are often afraid to apologize first. And you know why? Because they think whoever apologizes first is more wrong. He's the loser in the conflict. This is a myth, and we all, believe you me, have fueled this enough to make it a fact. All of you who are in the same boat as Ruchika and Zishan, please remember, when you apologize, it doesn't mean you're admitting to the entire conflict as your fault. Most importantly, don't accept all the blame if it isn't all your fault. When you argue with someone, obviously some boundary is crossed. And when you apologize, it allows you to establish what you regret about your own actions. But along with that, it also confirms your boundaries. It's important to be fair in your apology, but also it's important to be fair to the other person and yourself. And that's where most of us go wrong. We try to be fair to the other person, and we forget that we need to be fair to ourselves also. And that's what I'm talking about. We need to protect our boundaries. When the other person starts blaming us, we stop thinking about ourselves. And that's something important. That's something we need to do. So when you say sorry, when you apologize, you taking responsibility for your part in the conflict. Keep that in mind. That, along with the sorry, you need to reaffirm your boundaries. You have a right to your boundaries and you don't need to apologize for them. For example, you could start with a compliment. You could acknowledge the other person's feelings. You could express gratitude and suggest some alternative way the person might get their needs met. When you're setting a boundary, you don't need to give a justification or an explanation, and certainly not an apology. When you apologize, you're actually signaling the other person that you're not sure about your own boundary. You're inviting them to be offended or disrespect your boundary. So you set a boundary. You don't say, sorry, I can't be there before 5. Set your boundary and say, yes, I can be there by 5. You are giving your boundary. You are saying, I'll be there by 5. You're not apologizing, sorry, I can't be there before 5. There's nothing to apologize there. Instead of apologizing, prefer saying thank you. How many times do you remember yourself saying, sorry for the delay, sorry I missed your call, sorry for the inconvenience? You don't need to say sorry there, because more than half the time the other person actually starts believing that you are apologizing. So instead of sorry to keep you waiting, say thank you for waiting. In most of my workshops, I keep telling everyone this analogy and people love it. Imagine you carrying around a jar of sorries. Each one is precious, meant for moments when you genuinely need to make amends. Now think about how often you hand them out. Just like a jar of sweets, you have a jar of sorries. So you hand them out for things that aren't your fault. It's like giving away your favorite cookies, your favorite candies to everyone who passes by, even if they didn't ask for one. There's real power in holding on to those sorries until they're truly needed. You deserve to prioritize your mental, your physical well-being and say no to invitations that don't excite you. Claim your rightful place in the world. Save your sorry for the times when you genuinely hurt someone. I just realized a very interesting phenomena. Apologies these days have completely changed. It's nothing like it used to be 10 years ago. We used to have these really long, 20 times double-checked apology letters. There was like a proper format, and our teachers, they made sure the format was on dot. Comma, yahan pe full stop, this much margin, leave so much space. Otherwise, they would deduct marks. Did you have something like that? Because our kids probably have never seen that kind of an apology letter. They say sorry with an emoji on WhatsApp. Or they'll send a tearful GIF. Sometimes a one-line tweet if it's a bit serious. And companies? They're apologizing through blog posts where they're just marketing, barely saying a sorry. The last time you apologized to someone, how did you apologize? Do share your thoughts and do share your sorry stories with me on Insta at #communicate101. Remember to follow me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Communicate 101 Speaking Writing Tips with Sarika Singh. If you want to be notified of upcoming episodes, be sure to hit the subscribe button and follow the podcast. I'll be back to share more stories, more life experiences, and more communication tips every Friday. If you want to reach me or connect with me, just put your comments in the comment box below or mail me at info@sarikasingh.in. I know you're going to rate and review this podcast, so a big thank you in advance. Stay tuned and think about what we talked today.